to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside cold, rainy Louisville, Kentucky. And in Maryland, where I'm assuming it's cold, but I don't know if it's rainy, of course, unless you're wearing a Commander's jersey or anything like that. John Webster, how you doing, my friend?
Gary, I'm doing real good, man. It's cold and the rain is coming tonight and tomorrow.
Get
And
ready. I'm telling you.
what I want to say, I want to say welcome back to you. I know you had some surgery. It is good to have you back.
Thank you.
Enjoy the time with you. We also want to say thank you again to Dante Webster, who stepped in for you last week, did a great job,
Yes, he did.
as he
Yes, he did.
always does. And John Pitt is making significant progress in his recovery, doing very well. And we're hopeful to see him again very soon. Big
All
John,
right.
keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
One day at a time, man. That's all I can say for my own progress. I hope my voice can last well enough to do this, man, because there's a lot to get to.
Well, let's go ahead and knock some of this out, Gary. We want to talk about this NFL, man. Tell me what you think about those Cowboys. They look like world beaters last week when they beat the Commanders, and then Sunday against Denver, they didn't look good, man.
Yeah, you know, okay, two things. Just as I'm starting to believe in both sides of the ball for the Cowboys, even even with the vulnerabilities of the defense, they were getting the job done. What happened out there in Denver? Again, even with watching the replays, even with trying to watch a replay of the game on NFL Network, then I'm still like, how in the world did they lose that game? And only thing I can just say is, defensively, they really took their eye off the ball, and that's a concern. I think their weaknesses sometimes against the run and against the pass were exposed. That is a concern for Dallas going forward. Um, of course, in that division, I don't think I don't think that division is settled yet because, as we'll get to the Commanders that, there's a big concern there with three straight losses and all the injuries. But the thing about that division is that you don't know what you're going to get from week to week. With Dallas, uh, Dak can look like old Dak, and then games like Sunday, he can be decent, but then, he gets let down by his defense. And again, I say the Cowboys are a microcosm of this league that you don't really know what you're going to get from week to week, unless maybe you're the Indianapolis Colts of all teams. I can't think of another team that has just been consistent in winning. Oh, Buffalo uh, and such. But yeah, what are your thoughts about the Cowboys?
Inconsistent injuries. The secondary is beat up.
Yeah.
Deron Bland, Diggs is out. You know,
Mhm.
I think they are still in search of a defensive end who can raise havoc. There's no point in crying over spilled milk. You don't have Micah Parsons, but you need to find someone. I also think the interior part of the defense is suffering. I think the run game Denver had, they really dominated Dallas on that front line. I think Dak Prescott is having a tremendous year. I think it's really unfortunate he's having a tremendous year in the defense, and some of the other parts to the team are not able to stay up with him. I'm looking at the schedule, and next week they play Arizona on Monday night. I think they go to Arizona. They've had some good times there, and they've had some bad times in Arizona.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I think this is a year where and we're getting ready to talk about it next, Philadelphia and the Giants. I think it's a year where Philadelphia is good, but they're not dominating. And I
No.
say that because I think if Dallas could get itself together, they could make a run at winning this division. But they're so inconsistent, Gary. 1 week up, 1 week down, and injuries. And everybody has injuries, man. You know, it happens to everybody. But it's rough for Dallas. We'll see what's going to happen, man. We'll see. We'll see. But you know, as we move forward, we had a game with Philadelphia and the New York Giants, and Philadelphia pretty much took care of the Giants. I think the game turned, in my opinion, on a couple of things. I think on that tush push, I think it was a fumble myself. They said it was not. Philadelphia retained possession, you know. So, and then also I think it changed when Scatterboo dislocated his ankle.
Yeah.
I think that hurt quite a bit as well too.
Yeah.
Um, Philadelphia, I think, has a bye, and they're coming back and going to Green Bay. That's why I think this division is up for grabs because Philadelphia's got some hard games coming up, man. Uh, Let me look at this again for Philadelphia. I mean, they got a rough schedule coming up, man. Let's see, they got Green Bay, then they got Detroit, then they go to Dallas, then they have Chicago, then they go to the Chargers, Raiders at home, then they play the Commanders at here in DC, then they go to Buffalo and finish with the Commanders at home. That's not an easy schedule, Gary. And
Not by any stretch. Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, they're playing a champion schedule where everybody's gunning for them.
sure, sure.
And it was helpful for the Eagles to score that many points after struggling and having all kinds of questions about their offense, just like where is it? Um, I'm still not sure where it is. The heart and the consistency in that offense right now, in spite of all those weapons that we talk about with Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley, really Jalen Hurts has been the heart of that offense. He's been consistent. The numbers aren't there. The numbers aren't the same. The numbers are solid. And I guess that's what you want out of a quarterback, of any quarterback. But with him, he's not killing you with mistakes. He's not really putting himself out there like he was. I don't want to say he's being careful. I think he's being smarter with some of his reads and some of his runs. He almost has to, but again, they need more, and something is missing in that. I don't know what it is. Okay, AJ Brown, I think he's out for for a couple of games, at least out for this week. That's one thing. He was starting to get the ball. The numbers weren't quite there. I do think in a lot of ways the Eagles need to reestablish an identity on offense, where everybody is gearing up for Barkley, trying to shut him down. Of course, now they're down to one star receiver, but they have to figure out how to weave some other guys in there. They have to come up with some different looks. Um, Jalen Hurts might have to assert himself a little bit more in that offense, from a standpoint of having a presence to really get them to, get that offense kind of on that track like last year, where they were moving the ball freely at will against everybody. It's just not there. And part of that, I do think, excuse me, is that as a champion, people start to figure out what you're doing defensively and offensively, but especially offensively. And that's what they're doing against the Eagles, even the Giants. We saw how they put it to them just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, but they right now they're the best thing in the NFC, not just the East, but in the NFC. They're playing the best ball. Well, I
Yeah.
was going to say they're playing the best ball. I really can't say that either, can I? I
Hmm.
guess uh, they're one of the top two or three teams in the NFC. I'll say that. Detroit is definitely the best. Um, Out west, San Francisco's got injuries. The Rams haven't been consistent. And in the NFC Central, what is
Green
not
Bay.
I'm
Well,
sorry, NFC,
after Detroit, yeah,
yeah,
Detroit and
Green
Green Bay
Bay. And
are
then,
probably the two
well,
teams
the
that come
team
to
that we're
mind.
forgetting about, Gary, the team we're forgetting about, and I shouldn't. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a dangerous team. Even though Philadelphia has beaten them this year, I think they're really tough. I think they're going to have something to say about these playoffs and who's going to go where and what's going to happen. So we'll see how
Mhm.
it goes.
Yeah.
Um, that leads us into a conversation about the Washington Commanders. and
Yeah. Well,
let me
um,
Gary, before you get started, let me say this to all the viewers who feel I do not like the Washington Commanders. I will say it as I've said before. I have no dislike for the Commanders. I think it's an organization that's moving in the right direction again. I like what the ownership's doing. I like how Adam Peters has put this team together, and I like Dan Quinn as a coach. But they have some struggles, and I'll bring up those struggles after you break down the Commanders.
okay. Keyword breakdown. And John, there's no other way to look at it as but at the defense. Something's got to give, and it's not all those yards and points that they're giving up. I mean that's crisis right there on that side of the ball. They are in crisis. And John, your prediction that they might be a better team with a worse record. I'm still inclined to agree with that preseason assessment, but it's looking shaky. They've lost three straight games, and John, Monday night they didn't look like against the Chiefs. They couldn't stop them. They really, at least in that third quarter, there was nobody watching that game in Washington that truly believed that they were going to make up a deficit because they couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes. I forgot when I tuned out rather. It was probably when it got to 28-7, and I flipped over to the interminable World Series game between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. But um, that defense is just awful. And the thing that bothered me Monday night and going forward is, Marcus Mariota tried to make some things happen. I was encouraged on the one hand, but some of those plays, particularly those fourth down plays in the first half, where they were trying to keep pace, they were moving the ball. They I mean they're getting close, but some fourth down calls that were just head scratchers. And John, you've heard me complain a lot of times that offensive coordinators rather get cute when they should just play smash mouth, just go with your strengths. And with fourth and one, and you've got running backs, you've got a couple of bruising running backs. Just throw, just send them forward. I'm a believer in, Bill Parcells' philosophy is that, if my guys can't move your guys back 1 yard, they have no business being out there. Take up another job. I think they have that the front line wants to do that. But then they come up with, again, some of these like, again, trick plays. Well, I call them trick plays, but they just come up with these scratching plays trying to be cute and they fail. Now, luckily, they got the one touchdown, and it gave you some hope. They got them within the score, but then, they give up a couple more. And then, well, yeah, I guess what? Yeah, they tie the game and then they never score again. And there was no confidence in that offense in the second half, because once Kansas City gets up ahead of steam, Smith, for the Chiefs, once he starts to figure some things out, those guys, it rubs off on the other guys. But really, it was about trying to stop Patrick Mahomes, and they couldn't do it. And it's the third straight week that they couldn't stop a team with a good quarterback.
Gary, as always, you know what I tell you. You do a great job breaking it down. I don't disagree. I can add a couple things. One, you may say this is crazy, Gary. I think the game was lost in the first half. I'll go even further. I think the game was lost in the first quarter. And this is why I say it. You're driving down the field on your scripted first 15 plays. You're moving down. Unfortunately, the ball hits Debo Samuel in the face mask, and you have a fumble. I
Hmm.
think you're on the 20, 25-yard line. You come
Yeah,
away with no points.
yeah. Hey,
Then
I
you
forgot to mention the turnovers. Yeah.
then you turn over Mahomes. You get the ball again. You come down. You have 4th and 2, 4th and 1, and you don't get that. Ertz comes up short. People complain about bad spot, not correct spot. My thinking on that is this: run your route further. Do not run your route 1 yard short, because this is not the first time when Ertz has run the route short. He's been stopped short on a 4th down play. Run the route 3 yards so you can get the 2 yards.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and then you held them. Mahomes had 2 interceptions on his first 2 possessions, the first two out of the first 3 possessions. It's 0-0. Easily could have been 6-0, 9-0, and at halftime you could have been up 13-7. And who knows what happens in the second half.
Hmm.
Um, I think they struggle. They had more injuries come up. Terry McLaurin has re-injured his quad. Tunsil Laramie, did I say his name correctly?
Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil. I was close there, Gary. I was close.
Yeah.
He got injured. We don't know the extent of that injury. Debo Samuel, I think, tweaked his injury as well. So you have that going on as they're going into this Sunday against Seattle. I can say, when I look at the glass half full, I have seen them in a 3-game losing streak before. We saw it last year, and that's what they are right now. But glass half empty, the 3-game losing streak last year put them at 5-5. 3-game losing streak this year has them at 3-5. And I'm just going to say this to you, Gary, and that a lot of Commanders fans, that yes, they've had injuries, but I'm a firm believer. You play the schedule that you're given, but if you're not used to something, you can't adjust on the fly, you're gonna have a problem. What do I mean? If you look at the Commander schedule, look at the number of what I call big games they have this year. They have the maximum for the NFL, which I think is 8 or 9.
Yeah.
You're playing this Sunday at 8 o'clock. You just played this Monday night game. You played the Bears on a Monday night game. You played the Green Bay Packers on a Monday night game. That stuff starts adding up, because I keep saying and I keep saying and I keep saying, you are the target this year. Everybody is coming at you, as opposed to last year. Everybody looked at you like a homecoming game and you put something on them. And mistakes, turnovers, uh, fortunate situations all even out in life. Last year against Chicago, you had a Hail Mary that worked. This year against Chicago, you have a troubling handoff that is not handled by the quarterback or the running back.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
blaming anybody. But what
well,
I'm saying
yeah,
is
you
things
gave
happen.
them 13 points off turnovers.
Exactly. Last year, you didn't get 13 points off turnovers. things happen and things even out in life. I remember sorry, a Washington team at one point that was called the Redskins. They had 1983. They had a plus 46 or 47 on turnovers. Absolutely unheard of. They had good seasons afterwards, but they never came close to that again. My point is, things happen and things change. I think with uh, Washington, you also have a concern with your running backs. Who you really doing the thing was Bill, and he has been struggling. They've been trying to get more time to McNichol and Rodriguez. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say they can't make the playoffs. I'm going to sit here and tell you it's going to be very hard. I will also say, this is a very important game this coming week against Seattle, followed by the Detroit Lions. Two, important teams you're playing. You're 3-5. You can't come out of this 3-7. At worst, you can come out of here 4-6, and 4-6, you got to run the table and end the season 11-6. At worst, but you
Yeah.
cannot come out of these next two games 3-7. You can't. It's just you still got Dallas to play again. You got Philadelphia to play two more times, and you got the Giants. That's four of those games after that, and it's just hard, Gary. I think the effort's there. I think they played better this week against Kansas City than they did against Dallas. But
At times,
yeah,
at times.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 But it's just and Jaden Daniels is injured. We haven't even discussed that. He's out.
Yeah.
He's hurt. I'm not sure they're even going to play him against Seattle because it's a hamstring.
Well, yeah,
And
but I saw today, like before we went on, that they expect him to play. I mean, they declared McLaurin out already. Usually in the NFL, if a guy practices on Wednesday, it's a pretty good chance he's going to play. Um, but to your point about Daniels' health, that's good. I mean, that's really going to be the X factor. This has nothing to do with Marcus Mariota because I think he's capable of running the offense. It's just that they've got to use their strengths now just to end this losing streak. If they can play Seattle at home again, as you said, in another primetime game where everybody's watching or most of the nation is watching, you know, um, they got to do something positive. They got to move the needle, in the other direction. And part of that, the biggest thing is keeping Jaden Daniels healthy, making sure he can use everybody. Like you said, Zach Ertz, you need 2 yards, run 3 yards, and then try to get that two. When you're facing fourth and short. If you've got fourth and one, if you've got third and one, just pound the daggone ball in there. And
I think
defensively, just defensively, just stop acting like a wet paper towel and letting everything bust through you.
I think this week they need to run that ball 25 to 30 times. They need to control the time of possession. They don't need to give Seattle a lot of time to do their thing. If I'm not mistaken, Seattle has that kid at wide receiver who played at Ohio State, right? Who,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I I wouldn't take any chances with it. I pound the ball in Seattle the whole game. Keep that offense on the sideline, eat that clock up, and get some points.
yes,
And
you
oh, we
will.
didn't mention also the kicker is hurt for Washington. He's out. So it's one thing after number, and the thing is, you still have to play, Gary. No matter what, you still have to play. But what
Mhm.
I am saying, sometimes when you look at things at the beginning of the season, you have rose-colored glasses on, and you can't see everything. And we all want Washington to do well. I'm so happy that as a franchise, it's bounced back, and the leadership that Josh Harris and his ownership group shows is I think very good and second to none. But this is part of a growth. You have bumps in the road. It's part of growth. It's what happens sometimes. Is
Yeah.
it over with for this season? No, not over with yet. But they got some work to do to get to where they need to get to.
Yeah. Well, John, as we start to wrap this up, I'm going to make one quick observation about the World Series. As we record this, it's tied at 2-2. Toronto flexed their muscles. I mean, their bats really showed last night in Game 4, and really bouncing back from. I don't even know if that was a demoralizing loss to the Dodgers in 18 innings in the longest World Series games. But the main thing that they had to do was bounce back. And the thing I like about the series, I still like the Dodgers because of Shohei, because of their starting pitching. And in essence, last night their starting pitching was part of the reason they lost, not because of what Shohei did. Well, he stayed in probably a couple of batters too long, but Toronto, they're going to hit the ball. The Dodgers are going to hit the ball, but they've got that pitching and they've got that X factor in Shohei, who isn't really tearing the ball up, but a guy that can that he's capable of going out there and striking out 5 to 8 batters a game. Okay, so you got him for Game 4. Now you've got it's best 2 out of 3. You might see him in Game 7. The encouraging thing for the Dodgers is that in spite of all the questions about the bullpen, that they got 18 innings out of that bullpen, including some key innings from some key a key inning from Clayton Kershaw. So that's one thing to look forward to. If you're the Blue Jays, you look forward to having, 2 of the next 3 at home. But you can't go home with a 3-2 deficit expecting to win those 2 games. You can hope to win them. But I think for the Dodgers, if they're going to take this, they're going to have to take another odd game if they hope to win this, and then just see what happens, because they've already proven that they can play well in the Dome or the Rogers Center, whatever they call it now.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I still say Dodgers in 7. It's going to go 7. And I'll tell you the crazy thing. The game the other night, we saw a doubleheader in the World Series that went 18 innings. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't see the 18th inning. That home run came at 2:35 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
Kim Webster, who was looking at something on her phone, told me the Dodgers had just won. So I got a sports update from my wife about the Dodgers won the game at 2:35 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, John, honestly, I thought about you when that game got, I guess when it went probably to the 11th inning, and I said, John's got to get up in the morning. I said, I know daggone well he is as much as he wants to watch this, that he's probably passed out. Sometimes you just got to cut bait with some of these games. And again, I think I told you, it's like I was asleep for about 4 or 5 innings. When I woke up, I expected it to be over. And then when I saw this, and I was like, oh my goodness, man, this could go until 4. Thankfully, it was over before 3. And
Barry,
Freddie Freeman, who is Mr. Clutch, I have to give it to him
yeah, yeah.
again.
There's something, man. But Gary, man, I've been waiting to say this to you for about 2 weeks now. Go ahead and take us home.
All right, let's see. We've got Maryland's homecoming coming up against number 2, I think Indiana. I think they're still number 2, a team that, John, for my money, is probably the most dangerous team in the country right now in the Big Ten. I'm not looking at this as like, oh, can Maryland, can they beat them? It's, can they stop the train, a runaway train? Because you look in their last 4 games that they hung 50 on UCLA, they hung 50 on Illinois, and I want to say it was probably more closer to 60. That is a tough team to beat. It's a tough team to stop. I don't even think that they're playing their best football. And I can say that because, out here in Louisville, we get their games on the Big Ten Network. It's a very, very dangerous team. Maryland, we just have to be very, very realistic about them. So, but still, that's why they go out and play the games. The Caps are still a solid team. We won't talk about the Wizards until there's something to talk about. And I guess that's about all I can say, dude.
Hey, another great week in sports. Great to have you back, Gary.
Thank
Hey,
you.
you all, watch some NCAA football, watch some NFL football. The NBA basketball season is back. Watch some NBA basketball. NHL is back. Watch some hockey. But above all else, come back and see us and just watch some sports. Take care.